I bid you welcome.
So did you watch The Devil and Father Amorth?
I did. Yeah, I did.
Spooky, huh?
Strange.
Strangely
dramatic.
Yeah, I thought it was way overly dramatic. Now, don't get me wrong. I did enjoy it. It was a fun hour, but it was presented as very kind of like very serious. Well, here let me play the trailer. I'm gonna play. It's like a minute trailer. Let's play the trailer so we can refresh our memories for The Devil and Father Amorth for me and you and the people listening. This is the trailer. Have a listen to this.
At the time I directed the film, The Exorcist, I had never seen the real thing. But on May 1st, 2016, Father Gabriele Amorth, the Vatican exorcist, invited me to witness an actual exorcism. I had no idea what to expect.
The more you open yourself to thinking about this stuff, and you start feeling about this stuff, the more room you allow for the supernatural power of evil to come in.
If we don't understand it, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
There's a dimension of this world that is strange and beyond our capacity to control.
Can I know how to treat it? No. So something is happening to her, it's clear. But maybe she puts into it the religious context in which she grew up. Because they believe, obviously, they know what's wrong with her. She's possessed by the devil.
I think that's a very dangerous thing. Getting in close quarters with the devil. People like Father Amorth maybe can do that. I would never dare to do it.
This is not fiction. It's different from all the movies. And I was there to film it.
Yeah, he was there to film it. So
He was.
William
Yeah, he
Friedkin.
was there.
Yeah, he was there. So William Friedkin, he's the director of the horror classic The Exorcist from 1973, and I don't think anyone would doubt the validity of how great a movie The Exorcist is. It truly is a true classic in the sense of the word. It's a wonderful horror movie. And for anyone who hasn't seen it, I strongly recommend you go ahead and rent that or purchase it or get it from somewhere and watch it. Great movie. And I guess the specter of the movie The Exorcist has been hung over William Friedkin's head ever since '73, because it's probably his greatest movie. And when you're early in your career and you make such a great movie, it's like, where do you go from up, right? So it's constantly hanging over him. He's appeared in multiple documentaries about the movie itself and about the supernatural and yada yada yada, simply because he made this movie. So it's only natural for him, 40 years later, to be still associated with the movie and to get involved with something that's open quotes real close quotes.
The thing is with I remember watching The Exorcist way back in the video days. We hired it from a video shop and watched it on VHS.
Yeah.
And it was a real scary film. And of course, we all do that when we're younger. But
Sure.
The thing is that it's also interesting to point that film itself had a load of weird things going on with it when they made the film.
Right.
Strange stuff going on, and people having accidents and all weird things going on where they never thought the film would get made.
Right.
So it's possibly digging something up there, or is it in people's minds, or are you looking back and adding stuff to it?
It's also really good for publicity. Now, if you look back at some of the old newspaper clippings or the media of that time when the movie was first released into the cinema, into the movie theaters, there was stories, headlines in the newspapers of people fainting. People being, they had a nurse on standby at the movie theaters and an ambulance ready to go for people who got nauseous or sick. They said that the attendance at churches skyrocketed after the movie came out. Now, whether or not that is partially true or completely true or not true at all is kind of irrelevant because it's great publicity for the movie.
Yeah.
Right? It's great publicity for the movie. As is The Devil and Father Amorth, right? This documentary that came out. There's probably a ton of people who are going to watch this, and then stumble upon The Exorcist. So it's both movies will feed off each other publicity-wise.
Yeah. The difference with this film is that what I did know is that it's very short. It's not like a drawn out.
It's a little over an hour, right? It's like an hour and 10 minutes or something.
It's basically just over an hour. But I thought it got to the point. And the actual documentary is based around one woman.
Right.
And where she's had multiple exorcisms before over many, many years. It was 9 years or 9 exorcisms.
Yeah, something like that.
And she's had many, many done. She's just your average person. And they basically do another exorcism, and of course he films the whole event. He's not allowed to bring a camera crew. It's all like him with a handy cam or something, isn't it?
Yeah, so they invite William Friedkin to witness the supposed final exorcism of this lady. And they say you can come in and you can witness it, but no camera crew, no lights, no nothing. You can come on your own and you can film it, but only you with the camera can film it. So he brought in a small little camera to film it, and he filmed the event from one angle with the camera, and it was okay. It came out okay. The quality was all right. You could tell it was a camera, though. You could tell it wasn't like a high quality movie camera. It was just some little camera that he had. But there's a couple of things that rubbed me the wrong way with this whole thing. Yeah. Let me focus on the camera first of all.
Yeah.
So there's lots of cameras available, right? And you can get a small, super high quality camera for $1,500, and it's you can put it in your pocket. It's 4K or when was this made? 220. No, you can still get a 4K camera. And it's very high quality images, and William Friedkin is probably not short of a couple of quid. You know what I mean? He's got some money, right?
Yeah.
You'd think that he could either buy, borrow, or whatever a really good high quality little camera that he could use to film this momentous historic event.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. He goes in with some dopey little point and shoot piece of garbage.
Well, he's got a rogue mic.
Yeah.
Rode mic.
Yeah, stuck on top of it.
And he's got I think it's a Lumix. I think something like that.
Yeah.
Like a DSLR.
Just a little, for like $300 or $400.
And one of the most annoying things is he's got the autofocus turned on. So he's not pre-focused, and every time he sort of points at one person, everyone else goes. He's using a very shallow aperture, so everybody's blurred apart from the one person he's pointing at.
And the thing is, though, Reeves, is that this guy is a professional movie maker.
Oh,
you'd think he would know this shit.
Yeah.
I
mean, all right, okay, I can understand if you're going into an environment you don't know, and you're going into, especially something like this, you're going to witness an exorcism. You got a whole, because obviously this exorcism that he witnesses is not just him and the woman and the priest.
Yeah. It's like
it's the whole family.
Yeah, the whole family's
like
there.
30 people there.
Yeah,
in this tiny little room.
Yeah.
And the priest, who's obviously he's wheelchair bound now. At the time, was he wheelchair bound? I think he was on a walker or he was wheelchair bound. But he was very frail. He had other priests around him that were reciting prayers as he was doing his thing, and so there's a lot of people and there's a lot going on. And you think that rather than holding a camera, you would put it on a tripod in the corner of the room and just film it as it happens, to get everything in.
Right.
It all seemed very sort of
haphazard.
Haphazard, and I don't really know what I'm doing, but let's have a go.
Another thing, there was a special point. Now, the fact that we know what kind of camera he had and what kind of mic and everything is because you see it in the movie, right? You see the camera he's using. Yeah. And the way they present the movie is that he's the only one filming this with that little camera.
Yeah, but he's not.
No, he's not, because if he was, how the fuck could we see the camera that he's filming with?
Yeah, because he says, I'm here now on my own. No, you're not, because you've just done another shot of you holding the camera.
Exactly.
So who's holding the camera filming you?
Exactly. And I noticed that too when he was interviewing the psychiatrist, when he's in some hospital in Israel. I don't know, why would you go to Israel to film us? Who knows? Anyway, he's there, and you see him. He's talking to he's filming the psychiatrist yapping away about whether or not exorcisms are real, and he's holding and then it cuts to him holding the camera, and I'm like, aren't you the only person in the room with it? How the fuck is that happening?
Now I think there's a reason for this. I think that he had a professional cameraman filming him third person all the time, just in case the stuff that he was filming ended up to be utter rubbish. And it was not usable.
See, now this makes me.
They were doing a lot of intercutting, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
There was a lot of intercutting. So that's what they were picking the cherry picking the good stuff that they could get off the little camera to give it that sort of rough edge. But he had a good quality cameraman filming him of everything.
Exactly.
That was the safety net.
Yeah, so it makes you think. I mean, as a director of a movie, you might be a great director, but you don't know shit about cameras or filming,
or angles, or lighting, or anything. Yeah.
You just
know how to direct a film.
Yeah,
or the technical side of it out the window.
Yeah, or maybe that's just him. I mean, maybe there's a bunch that do. So, what did you think about the actual event itself, the actual exorcism?
Well, right, okay. So I want to just say something else a minute. I was very friendly with the late, well, some people's ears might go, oh, yes, I remember that chap, the late Lou Gentili.
Okay.
He used to have a radio show way back in 2000. Lou Gentili show. And now they was coined a demonologist. He was into demonology. He was into possession, and he was into exorcism. And he knew a lot of, where he resided in Pennsylvania. He would Philadelphia. Sorry, not Pennsylvania. Philadelphia. He knew a priest who was able to perform exorcisms, and on a number of occasions he witnessed exorcisms performed by this priest, as he was appointed to him to be a helper, so that he could help, and also
he was present during the event.
Yeah, and he did recount it to me. I asked some questions, because obviously I would help out. I wasn't on the radio show, but I would do him banners and graphic work and just help out.
Okay.
So I would get to talk to him, and I would chat to him and say, one day I said, Lou, so what's the craziest thing that you've ever seen? And he recounted to me that he went to an exorcism many, many years ago, and it was of a young man who was having episodes of not remembering, where he would suddenly remember he would become conscious in a shopping mall or out in the streets at night. He would not remember
how he got there.
No, how he got there. So he believed himself to be possessed by a devil or demon or something.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he then went to the church. He was appointed, and the father, I can't remember his name. I think he was an Italian guy, and he had appointed him to do this exorcism. It was in a basic room. Sat the guy on a chair, and he said that this guy, as the priest was doing the exorcism and reciting, there was another guy there as well who was like the priest's helper, who was saying prayers as well. He said the guy's demeanor seemed to change. He became very strong. He became very aggressive. He was talking like languages, like what he believed to be Latin or something esque like that.
Right.
And this is just a everyday dude, just a guy, a young guy.
Yeah.
He wouldn't know all this shit, Yeah. And he said the room got colder. It felt weird, but he couldn't document any of this. It was just he was visually seeing it, and he said it was one of the most scariest things that. I mean, there was no like blood coming out of the walls or him floating around the room or nothing like that. It was very aggressive. And he said it was a very strange thing, and he'd witnessed a few of them.
That's one of the things that they always mention, though. Is like when you watch The Exorcist or any other movie about demonic possession, is that the movies exaggerate everything and make it 10 times bigger than it actually is. When it happens in reality, it's very subtle. I mean, it's still terrifying and it's still maybe very disturbing to watch, but it's a lot more subtle than it is in the movies.
But this is the thing with this documentary. we're watching when he goes in to do when the father goes, the priest goes in to do the exorcism.
Yeah,
it's all very normal, isn't it? It's just completely normal.
Yeah, she's smiling. Hello, yes,
with her partner.
Yeah.
And then he starts to pray, do the prayers,
and she changes.
And put the gown on her, and then she starts to go like into like this kind of trance, doesn't she?
Yeah.
And starts shaking, and then now I think, like you said to me, I think they put some vocal effect on her.
I was just going to bring that up because she starts screaming and yelling and saying, because then they tell her, leave her, leave the body, and the voice is like, never, she is with us. I'll never leave, and she starts screaming, and the voice is very unnerving. It's very dark, and it's very scary. But I'm going to play just a little second of the voice when she's screaming. Now this is apparent. Now think about this, okay? He's sitting there with his camera and his Rode mic on his little camera, filming this with a room full of people, and the priest is telling, doing this ritual over this lady. This lady is flipping the fuck out, screaming, and. Do they honestly expect us to believe that the microphone on his camera picked up this?
Yeah.
Listen again.
Yeah.
Now that, to me, that's a voice that's been filtered or put through some electronic effect. Listen.
Many voices.
There's no way that you would hear that voice coming out of a person with the naked ear.
No.
And obviously we can't prove that. Well, I guess you could if we had the technical knowledge to actually go through the wave file of the.
You could put it through
you could prove
and look
it.
at all the different frequencies.
And look at the frequencies and prove and see that it's
Yeah.
been tweaked and fooled with. And if that is the case, and I strongly believe that it is, this paints this as a very disingenuous movie because it's supposed to be real. And even though the visual aspects of what we're seeing are probably 100% real, why would you tweak the audio? Why would you adjust the audio to make it sound like this? Right?
Yeah. That just makes me. There's two things in this documentary that once again, if I'm sat next to that woman and she starts screaming like that, I'm going to get up and move away a bit because I'm thinking that's not right. I've never heard that before. That's totally alien to me. I need to just get a little bit. But the thing is that there's another part of this documentary that makes me gives me a mini red flag is when they get the phone call after the exorcism. They don't see the lady for a while. They can't get hold of her, and then she gets an irate phone call from the lady, says that they want to meet at a church 200 miles away. And they him and his cameraman drive all the way to this church. They leave the camera in the car or something. They don't have it. Or something like that.
I know. I couldn't believe that when he said that. He said we left the camera.
And this woman is slithering around the church like a snake.
Yeah.
And trying to, and the church is icy cold, and her partner is holding her, saying, "You've got to get out. You've got to get out." And she's saying, "I'm going to kill you" or something.
Yeah, and he says,
they don't film or record any of this.
Yeah, he says this is the most terrifying experience I've ever in my life. The most terrifying thing I've ever experienced. And he's there to make a documentary, to make a film about this. But, I left the camera in the car.
I mean, honestly, you could just put a clip of GoPro on, Just clip a GoPro on.
Oh, my God.
That's 1080p. That'll pick it all up.
And he's walking in and he's hearing... and it's icy cold.
In a church.
But he's like, I left the camera in the car, didn't I? Sorry.
It's 200 miles away. I had to bring it, did I? I didn't realise you were going to put on a show, huh?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. You're meeting someone alone in a church who's possessed, but I forgot the camera. Sorry.
And then they realised that the exorcism didn't work because of that. Now, to be honest with you, I mean, do you know what? Do you know what? Do you know where I could draw comparisons with this film?
What?
I draw comparisons with this film to the last film that we watched, Mr. Nosy Bonk.
Sir No Face.
Sir No Face. That's where I draw. It's got the same. It almost makes me think it's got the same marketing team behind it.
Yeah, in a way.
You know.
Yeah, except this the Devil and Father Amorth, they treat the subject matter very seriously.
They do, yeah.
Maybe too seriously, because they're trying to get like a motion picture vibe out of it, which doesn't really work because it's supposed to be a documentary or some kind of reality episode. Whereas Sir No Face was entirely just like reality TV. You know, even the cuts, the way it was filmed, everything was just like, you know, like a reality TV show shown on television.
No, I don't want listeners to get the wrong that we're ripping, you know, the piss out of people that have something going on in their lives that they can't explain. We're not saying that. But what I'm saying is that I think with this kind of programming, and when you have this kind of subject matter that's put in, you know, that's made a program out of, you have to be 100% on the line, genuine, no tampering, no kind of trying to make it look like a movie. You've got to literally
just be honest. Be honest.
Colin the Ghostbuster.
Yeah.
You know,
just be honest about it.
Yeah. You're just going to be straightforward and say, look, this is what it is, and you can't dress it up in any way.
Yeah.
If you start to dress stuff up, it starts to lose its credibility.
And I think that's what from our perspective, Reeves, I think credibility is worth more than the spectacle. And I think from their perspective, the spectacle was more important than the credibility.
Have you noticed that? Yeah.
I think that tweaking the sound is a big red flag. Saying, well, it's just me and my little camera, when that's obviously not the case. They're being disingenuous. They're even though the subject matter itself might be very, very real, the way they're documenting it and the way they're presenting it is it's not accurate.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you think about it, there's lots of films out there on UFOs and ghosts and hauntings, and a lot of those films, obviously, they're made for should we say, a mainstream audience. They're made for the kind of bubblegum style TV where you put it on and it's like, oh, it's a bit scary, and I watch that and that's it, and you don't really learn anything from it. And then, you know, I want I'm a bit of an inside joke here. You're going to find this funny, but I think a lot of people might not. I want my ghosty films to look like an episode of Open University on BBC Two at 2 o'clock in the morning. That's what I want. A guy in front of a black screen.
Right, but I hear what you're saying, and I agree with you to a certain extent. But that's not mass market appeal, right?
No,
that's not. Most people are going to turn that off in 3 seconds if they're presented with that kind of presentation. Yeah. They want something that's a little more flashy, a little more, people screaming like this. And then, I've just played that again, and that is very unnerving. It is unnerving.
The first time I heard it,
it's a very disturbing sound.
You were saying, watch this, and I watched it, and I had me headphones on. It was like quite late, and it was quite loud, and that started. I took them off. I thought, well, that's enough of that. I'm going to make coffee. Yeah. I'm going to leave that up in it and turn that down.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's a very disturbing sound. Even though it's to my ears, and of course I could be wrong, I'm no expert, but to my ears it sounds like it's an effect, and that's not in reality what was heard in the room. Well, I think that if you'd been sitting in that room witnessing this, and she was screaming, the screams that you heard would not sound like this. It would sound like just a woman screaming.
Well, it sounds like what they've done vocally is they've taken her voice and they brought it down a couple of octaves, so it's lower, and made it deeper, and then they basically doubled up or tripled up on it, so they've got three voices in one, and then they've given that kind of that demon sound,
I think you're being very accurate there. I think you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what it sounds like.
You got that 80s kind of devil sound,
in
the slasher films.
Yep. It's like they took the sound from it Amityville 2, The Possession? You remember that movie?
Or a bit of Fright Night, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A bit of,
So the sound editor of this movie was probably a horror movie sound editor in the 80s.
Oh yeah, a bit of it's a little bit of Fright Night. There's a little bit of Extra. There's a little bit of it's a little bit of
Extra.
a bit of 999 Evil or 66 Evil, whatever that other
976 Evil, yeah.
That's it. Nice.
But yeah, but even though we're pointing out these kind of inconsistencies and these little errors that we're picking, we're in a way we're nitpicking.
We are. Yeah,
it was a very entertaining hour. I did
was.
really enjoy it, and I would strongly recommend our listeners to go check it out.
If you've got Netflix,
it's on Netflix. It's called The Devil and Father Amorth by William Friedkin, and it's available on Netflix, on iTunes, on YouTube. YouTube Premium, rather. You can't just go onto YouTube and type it in. You're not going to get the movie, but you can.
Is it called Premium or Red? Is
it Red or Premium? I don't know. It's the one you got to pay for.
Red.
But it's worth a look, and I found it interesting.
Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, it's something. It's something to watch that you think, it makes you think. And I mean, we're not. I mean, the whole the topic of exorcism and possession. That's one of the areas that, to be honest with you, I've read a couple of books on it, but I'm not. I ain't no guru on it, and I do find it interesting where people can, we come back to religious belief, and religion is a huge hot potato, and possession. Do you become possessed if you're a very religious person? Do you have to be a religious person to become possessed, or is that if you're not a religious person and you feel that things aren't going right in your life, is that just because you just got bad luck?
Yeah,
is that superstition? Is that some? It's a whole area.
Right.
Where you could get into and debate.
Or are these people just mentally ill? Is there just something wrong with them?
going on in their brain? Yeah, it's like a form of schizophrenia.
Yeah.
Is it like a split personality disorder where you've got people with multiple personalities that have no memory of being someone else, but they've got multiple identities in there as one person. Who knows?
Right.
I don't. But yeah, an enjoyable hour.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very interesting.
Well, Reeves, thanks for talking about it. I've enjoyed it. Don't get possessed, okay?
No, I try not to. Okay.